Have you ever danced with your hair? Yeah. Oh, Afro. Shake your Afro.
Hi guys, I am in Toronto. I am doing my first workshop here. I'm so excited, I really am.
Cut your hair short. If you wanna hide, just cut your hair short. If you wanna be rich, you may lose some first. You gotta hustle and find a rich man like Bill Gates with an Afro cut.
My name is Patrice, and I am the creator of a blog called Afrobella.com, and I write primarily about natural hair and beauty and makeup, and fashion for plus-size women, fuller-figured women, and I've been doing it for 5 years now.
Back in the day, 1993, 94, there was a little magazine called Sassy.
Yes.
And you read that magazine quite religiously. Tell us a little bit about, what that was like way back then, 1993, 94.
Well, I think Sassy magazine really kind of showed me that you could write the same way that you speak, which I was just talking about that with these girls. I think that you kind of grow up writing in an academic style, writing what they tell you to write in school, and I started reading this magazine, and it wasn't available in Trinidad. It was a friend's cousin who lived in the States who would bring down these tattered and worn copies of this magazine, and we'd pass it around in high school, and all of us would read it, and she didn't want to take it home with her, so I would wind up taking home these magazines that sometimes didn't even have a cover on it or nothing. But I loved them, and I absorbed it, and it was just like a freedom of expression that was there that was not necessarily encouraged in the writing that I was doing at the time. I think what we are doing is making the change. Like, you've got a blog called Naturally Nubian, and my blog is Afrobella, and it's about taking back the power and featuring our stories and our beauty and celebrating our beauty in a genuine way and not adhering to the mainstream standards of what is beautiful. So yes, Beyonce is beautiful, yes, Rihanna is beautiful, but there are black women around the world with deeper complexions and different hair textures and different features that are also just as beautiful and just as talented and just as special. And it's important for us as bloggers and as writers and as tastemakers and media shapers to take back that power and to shine a spotlight on what is not being shown. I started my blog 5 years ago, and when I started my blog, there was not a lot of reflection of people who look like me. In media, in ads, and in anywhere. I didn't feel like I was looking and seeing plus-size women, or women with natural hair, or women with, beautiful dark complexions. I wasn't seeing them being reflected. And that was what led me to create my blog. It was one of the things I was like, there's a void here. We want to see ourselves. We want to know that we're beautiful too. And that's really where it started. There were not very many natural hair blogs, especially in 2006. And now, I feel like when I turn on the TV, you can't miss women that look like us. And you turn on the TV, you see women with big, beautiful natural hair who are driving Mercedes, who are selling, all the fabulous cars and, high-end products and things that you would have not thought of being pitched necessarily even to a black audience, much less, to women who express their beauty in an individualistic kind of way. So I think that we've come a long way in terms of finally there is that reflection. I think there's a lot further to go because we are still kind of seeing, it's like there's an accepted natural that is embraced right now, and there's an accepted range of skin tones. There's an accepted texture of natural hair. There's an accepted size. You can only be this big, this small. You know what I mean? And I don't agree with that, and I don't think that's the way it should be. The baby steps are being taken by the mainstream media. So you'll see, you know, they'll feature Alec Weck in a one photo shoot and say, okay, we've done our Black Beauty for the month, you know, and it's up to the rest of us who are doing it 365 days a year to keep flying the flag.
What do you think has been the main reason for this new outbreak of everybody wanting to go natural?
There was a movement in, let's say, 2005 to 2008, and it was an online revolution of women who really were just like, this is who I am, this is how I'm going to wear my hair, and I've learned what works for me, and I'm going to share my secrets with other people via YouTube, via blogs, via Twitter, via Facebook. And people are doing this now. It's like a new form of the griot. It's a new form of sharing that information that we were cut off from sharing, you know, because of slavery. Well, I think a lot of natural people kind of are like, I do my own hair and I don't go to a salon because salons are, insert, you know, whatever your last salon experience may have been. And now there's a lot of salons that are popping up, or, you know, stylists at salons who are very good at working with unique textures and highly textured hair. You know, so you can find people who know what they're doing with your hair if you just do the research and find the right place to go. People want to be individuals.
Yes.
People want to be celebrated for their differences, and people want to be recognized for their own unique beauty. And it's about freedom. You know, it really is about freedom, and it's about like laying down that traditional box relaxer and I want to look like me. It takes a lot of courage to cut all your hair off, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or Asian or Indian or whatever, to actually say, I'm going to cut all of this off and just go back to basics. Because I think regardless of ethnicity, there is this long hair equal beauty paradigm that everybody has accepted universally. So short hair is something that takes a lot of courage in general, because it's like you're sacrificing, and some people will say it this way, you're sacrificing your femininity, right? And people will tell you you're looking like a boy, or you're looking like a man, or whatever like that. And it's like, no, this is how I'm gonna get to my truest essence. And from here, you can take it anywhere. So I'm working on an empowering beauty book for women of color. So kind of like the message and the spirit of Afrobella, but in a book that you can give to your daughter as she goes away to college freshman year. You know, or in a book that a daughter can give to her mother even, you know what I mean? And you know, to kind of encourage her to tap in, because I think a lot of moms sometimes lose their identity and their feeling of being a beautiful woman, you know, because it becomes so much about your life, you know, taking care of your children. So I kind of want to write something that's going to empower people like us to really realize and celebrate and enjoy being the beautiful women that we are.
That a lot of the criticism that a lot of naturals get is from our own people.
It's generational, and it's passed down, you know, time and time again. And it was passed down from my grandmother to my mother, you know, because my mother told me a story recently that she was not allowed to leave the bedroom if company was over and her hair was uncombed. So she internalized that feeling that my grandmother would have given her, and in turn she passed that on to me when I was growing up and telling me, you know, you can't go out of the house with your hair looking a certain way, or your hair looks terrible, or this outfit is not flattering to you, or whatever, you know, or don't go on the sun and get too dark. That was a big concern back in those days as well, you know, and it's like, we have to learn to let those things go. It requires courage. It does, and I think that, you know, it requires courage because we're so conditioned to believe that our hair is not beautiful as it is, and to believe that we need to do something to it to make it presentable to the public, you know, and it's like all of us have the same thing under here, you know, we just need to kind of let it out and let it be itself. But I think it's a lot about kind of reclaiming your beauty.
Yes.
And recognizing that it's not just all about the exterior, you know, it has to shine from within. A million people can give you a compliment, and there's the one person who says something bad that you'll hold on to, you know, and it's a matter of figuring out why is that the comment that bothers me, and how do I let this go, and how do I just embrace what it actually is, you know. So I think it takes courage, especially at first, because you will face a lot of opposition. I think there are a lot of women who are natural in particular can be fearful of makeup, which makes me sad because I love makeup, and I think that, you know, we hold ourselves back and we tend to have these expectations and these ideas that we can't wear certain colors. I don't believe in any of that stuff. You know, I came out with a purple lip gloss. I really think the experiences that I've had this year have made me realize I can dream bigger than I was allowing myself to dream in the past. So I never would have thought in a million years that I would work with MAC and make a lip gloss, for example. So now I'm like, not only did I do that, but it was way more successful than I ever thought it would be. What if I worked with another brand and did a makeup collection with them? I actually have a ton of ideas to do that. My husband is actually the one who looked at me and came up with the word Afrobella.
Oh, really?
And it's very interesting because my husband is American and he is also white, and we come from totally opposite cultures, and it took a lot of explaining to him, you know, Patrice, you made your scalp bleed today. Why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, and he couldn't understand why I was using chemicals to make myself look like somebody else. So he really kind of helped me have the strength to realize that I could be beautiful without adhering to that standard of long straight hair equal beauty. The important thing is to kind of recognize that patience and love are going to be the best weapons you could have. You know, like you're going to have to really be patient with your hair and kind of listen to it and kind of figure out what it's trying to tell you. Because for so long you've been kind of, you know, just subjecting it to the chemical. So now that it's free from the chemical, does it need more moisture? Does it need, you have to change the way you're going to detangle it? You know, you're going to have to maybe step up and do more conditioning, you know, and it's a whole new way of approaching your hairstyling techniques. I guess what's next for me is whatever the right opportunity is, and I'll know what it is when I see it. So I'm just kind of keeping myself open to whatever there may be. Because, like, you know, a couple months ago, if somebody told me you'll be in Toronto on a stage talking to a bunch of beautiful women, I wouldn't have necessarily believed them, you know, because I didn't have it in my schedule to go to Toronto until Anne-Marie came up with this vision. So, you know, it's just a matter of seeing what comes. I'm going to India in October. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.